Deep inside the forest, the air felt calm and heavy at the same time. Tall trees stood close together, their long branches creating a natural roof above the ground. Soft light slipped through the leaves and painted moving shadows everywhere. The forest was quiet, not empty, but full of hidden life. Small sounds came from far away, like leaves moving and birds resting. A young woman named Maya walked slowly along a narrow path. She was alone, but she did not feel afraid yet. Her steps were careful, and her eyes stayed alert. She had come to this forest to escape noise and pressure. Life outside had become too loud and tiring. She needed silence to breathe again. Maya had always been strong, but lately her heart felt tired. Long days and sleepless nights had changed her. She felt lost in her own thoughts and needed space to think. The forest felt like the right place to find peace. She believed nature had answers that people often forgot. The path became thinner as she walked deeper. Trees grew taller, and the sunlight faded slowly. Her bag felt heavy on her shoulder, but she kept moving forward. She did not know how long she had been walking. Time felt different in the forest. Suddenly, something white appeared between the trees. Maya stopped. Her eyes focused on the shape ahead. It looked like a small house. She blinked and stepped closer, unsure if it was real. The structure stood quietly among the trees, built from white wooden pallets. The wood looked clean and carefully placed. It did not look broken or abandoned. A house like this did not belong here. Maya's heart started beating faster. She looked around, expecting to see someone nearby, but the forest remained silent. No voices. No movement. Just trees and the soft sound of wind. She moved closer, her curiosity stronger than her fear. The house was small but neat. The white walls stood out sharply against the dark green forest. A single window reflected the trees like a mirror. The door was simple, made of the same white wood. Maya stood in front of it for a long moment. Her mind filled with questions. Who built this house? Who lived here? Why was it hidden so deep in the forest? She placed her hand on the door gently. It was warm. That surprised her. Wood left outside usually felt cold. This warmth felt natural, almost welcoming. She pushed the door slowly. The door opened without a sound. Inside, the house was simple but peaceful. The air felt clean and calm. A small wooden table stood near the window. A candle rested on it, untouched. A chair sat beside the table, pushed in neatly. In the corner was a narrow bed with a folded blanket placed carefully on top. Everything felt organized. Nothing felt rushed or careless. Maya stepped inside slowly. Her shoes touched the wooden floor softly. The door closed behind her with a gentle sound, moved by the wind. She turned quickly, but the door did not lock. It simply rested in place. Her heart beat faster again, but not from fear. A strange sense of comfort filled her chest. The house felt safe. It felt like someone had prepared it with care. She looked around more closely. The walls were smooth. Small handmade decorations hung near the window. Each piece looked simple but meaningful. This was not a random shelter. Someone had lived here with intention. Maya placed her bag down near the door. She walked to the window and looked outside. The forest looked different from inside the house. The trees seemed calmer, almost protective. As she turned back, she noticed something on the table. A small notebook. She picked it up slowly. The cover was plain, but it looked used. She opened the first page carefully. The pages were filled with neat handwriting. The words were gentle and thoughtful. They spoke about nature, silence, and finding peace away from the world. Maya felt her throat tighten. These words felt familiar, like thoughts she had never spoken out loud. She closed the notebook and placed it back on the table. Her hands trembled slightly. She felt like she had stepped into someone else's quiet life. Outside, the light began to fade. Evening came quickly in the forest. Shadows grew longer, and the air became cooler. Maya realized that walking back before dark would be difficult. She looked at the bed again. Just one night, she thought. She told herself she would leave early in the morning. For now, rest felt more important. Her body and mind were exhausted. She sat on the bed slowly. The blanket felt soft and clean. She leaned back and took a deep breath. For the first time in many days, her thoughts slowed. As night settled, the forest sounds changed. Soft noises surrounded the house. Leaves moved gently. Insects hummed quietly. None of it felt threatening. Maya lay down and closed her eyes. She did not know that this night would bring memories, truth, and choices she never expected. She did not know that the white pallet house was not just a shelter. It was a turning point. And as the forest watched silently, Maya drifted into sleep, unaware that her life was about to change in ways she could never imagine. Night had fully arrived in the forest. The white pallet house stood quietly among the trees, glowing softly under the pale light of the moon. The forest sounds became deeper and slower, like the world was breathing in a steady rhythm. Inside the house, Maya slept, but her rest was not peaceful. Her dreams felt vivid and real. She saw herself walking through the forest again, but this time the trees seemed closer, almost watching her. The air felt heavy, and her steps echoed even though the ground was soft. She called out, but no voice answered her. Then she heard a sound. A soft knock. Maya opened her eyes suddenly. The room was dark, lit only by moonlight coming through the window. Her heart beat fast as she sat up on the bed. She listened carefully. The forest outside was quiet, but the sound came again. A knock at the door. Maya held her breath. Fear slowly rose inside her chest. No one should be here this deep in the forest at night. Her mind told her to stay still and quiet. But something else pushed her to move. She stood up slowly and stepped toward the door. Each step felt heavy. Her hand reached the handle, and she paused. The knocking stopped. For a moment, everything was silent. Then a calm voice spoke from outside. Maya. She froze. No one should know her name. Her heart raced as she whispered, "Who is there?" The voice answered softly. "Someone who once stayed here." Maya's thoughts rushed. She did not open the door right away. Instead, she asked again who the person was. The voice remained gentle and patient. "The door is safe to open," the voice said. After a long moment, Maya turned the handle slowly and opened the door. A man stood outside. He looked calm and tired, with kind eyes and a quiet expression. He wore simple clothes, and his hands were empty. He did not look threatening. He looked like someone who belonged to the forest. Maya stepped back slightly but did not close the door. She asked who he was. The man smiled softly. "My name is Aaron," he said. "This house was once mine." Maya felt confused. She invited him inside carefully. He stepped in slowly and closed the door behind him. He did not rush or move suddenly. He sat on the chair near the table. Aaron looked around the room with familiarity. He noticed the notebook on the table and nodded. "I see you found my words," he said. Maya sat across from him. Her fear slowly faded, replaced by curiosity. She asked why he built the house and why it was hidden in the forest. Aaron took a deep breath before answering. "I came here when the world became too heavy," he said. "I needed silence to understand myself again. This house gave me that chance." Maya listened closely. His words felt honest and real. She told him she came for the same reason. Aaron looked at her with understanding. "Then the forest brought you here for a reason," he said. They spoke quietly for a long time. Aaron shared how he lived in the house for years, writing his thoughts and learning to listen to nature. He said the forest teaches patience and truth if someone is willing to hear it. Maya shared her own story. She spoke about stress, confusion, and the feeling of losing herself. Saying the words out loud made her chest feel lighter. As they talked, the candle on the table suddenly lit on its own. Maya gasped and stood up. Aaron remained calm. The house listens, he said. When honesty fills the room, it responds. The warm light filled the space gently. Maya felt no fear now, only peace. The house felt alive, but not in a frightening way. It felt protective. Aaron stood up and walked toward the door. My time here is finished, he said. But yours is just beginning. Maya asked what he meant, but Aaron only smiled. He opened the door and stepped outside. Before leaving, he turned back and spoke one last time. The house shows people who they truly are, he said. Listen carefully tonight. Then he disappeared into the forest. Maya closed the door slowly. Her heart was calm, but her mind was full. She returned to the bed and lay down. The candle stayed lit beside her. Sleep came again, but this time her dreams were different. She saw memories from her life, moments she had avoided thinking about, mistakes she made, choices she regretted, feelings she hid. But instead of pain, the memories brought understanding. She woke up before sunrise. Golden light filled the room, and the candle was gone. The notebook lay open on the table. A new page had words written in fresh ink. This house shows truth, not comfort. Growth begins when truth is accepted. Maya read the words slowly. She felt changed inside. The forest outside looked brighter and welcoming. She stepped outside and breathed deeply. This was only the beginning. Morning light slowly filled the forest. The tall trees caught the sun and reflected soft gold across the ground. Birds began to sing, and the forest felt awake and gentle. The white pallet house stood quietly, just as it had during the night, but now it felt different. It felt like it was watching with calm patience. Maya stepped outside and stood still for a long moment. The air felt fresh and cool. She breathed deeply and felt strength return to her body. The forest no longer felt strange or heavy. It felt familiar, like an old friend. She walked around the house slowly. From every angle, it looked simple and peaceful. There were no signs of struggle or fear. Everything felt balanced. Maya wondered how long Aaron had lived here and how many thoughts he had left behind in this place. When she stepped back inside, she noticed something new. Near the wall, a wooden shelf held objects she had not seen before. Each item looked simple, yet meaningful. There was a smooth stone, a small carved bird, and a folded paper. Maya picked up the paper carefully and unfolded it. It held a message written in the same neat handwriting as the notebook. The forest reflects what the heart carries. Stay long enough and you will see yourself clearly. Maya felt a deep connection to the words. She placed the paper back and sat on the chair near the table. She opened the notebook again and began reading pages she had not read before. The words spoke about patience, about listening instead of running, about learning to forgive oneself. Each page felt like it had been written for her, even though she knew it was not. Hours passed without her noticing. Time felt slow and gentle. She realized she had not thought about her worries once since waking up. Later, Maya stepped outside again and followed a small path behind the house. It led deeper into the forest. She did not feel afraid. Her steps felt guided, as if the forest itself was leading her. The path opened into a small clearing. Sunlight poured down freely, and soft grass covered the ground. In the center stood an old tree, wider and taller than the rest. Its roots stretched outward like arms resting on the earth. Maya approached the tree slowly. When she placed her hand on its bark, a warm feeling spread through her chest. Memories began to rise, not forced, but gentle. She remembered moments when she ignored her own needs. Times she stayed silent when she should have spoken. Times she followed paths chosen by others. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not feel weak. She felt honest. She sat beneath the tree and allowed the feelings to pass through her. The forest stayed quiet, respectful of her moment. When the tears stopped, her heart felt lighter. As she stood up, she noticed marks carved into the tree. Symbols simple and natural. They matched drawings she had seen in the notebook. Aaron had been here many times. Maya returned to the house with a new understanding. This place was not meant to hide from life. It was meant to prepare someone to face it again. That evening, as the sun lowered, the forest changed color. Warm orange light filled the space. Maya lit the candle herself this time. The flame stayed steady, bright, and calm. She sat at the table and began to write in the notebook. Her words were slow but honest. She wrote about fear, about hope, about the desire to live a life true to herself. As she wrote, the house felt alive with warmth. The walls seemed to hold her words gently. When night arrived, Maya slept deeply without dreams. Her rest was full and healing. She woke before dawn again. This time, the house felt quieter. The shelf items were gone. The folded paper was missing. Only the notebook remained, now closed. Maya understood. Her time here was ending. She packed her bag and stood in the center of the room. She placed her hand on the wall and whispered a quiet thank you. The house felt warm under her touch. When she opened the door, morning light filled the space. The forest stood waiting. Maya stepped outside and turned back one last time. The white pallet house stood silently, peaceful and complete. She walked away with steady steps, carrying something new inside her. Not answers to everything, but trust in herself. The forest watched her leave, knowing she would never be the same again. Maya walked away from the white pallet house with slow and steady steps. The forest path stretched ahead of her, quiet and calm. Each step felt different from before. Her body felt lighter, and her thoughts felt clearer. She did not rush. She allowed the forest to guide her forward. As she walked, memories from her past returned, but they no longer hurt. She remembered moments when she doubted herself and moments when she followed paths that did not feel right. This time, those memories felt like lessons instead of weight. After some time, Maya noticed something strange. The path she followed began to change. Trees shifted gently, and the air felt warmer. The forest looked familiar, yet different. She stopped and looked around, unsure if she was still walking toward the edge of the forest. Then she saw a small wooden sign tied to a tree branch. It had simple words carved into it. Choose with honesty. Maya stared at the sign for a long moment. She felt a pull in two directions. One path led toward the sound of distant roads and life she knew. The other path curved deeper into the forest, quiet and unknown. Her heart beat slowly as she stood between the paths. She realized this moment was not only about where she walked. It was about how she would live from now on. She closed her eyes and listened to her breath. She remembered the notebook. She remembered the tree in the clearing. She remembered the calm she felt inside the house. Maya chose the path that felt true to her heart. She walked deeper into the forest. The trees opened slightly, letting sunlight guide her way. After a while, she reached another clearing. This one was larger and filled with light. In the center stood a small group of people. They sat quietly, some writing, some resting, some simply breathing. Maya stopped at the edge of the clearing. No one spoke, yet she felt welcomed. A woman stood and walked toward her. She had kind eyes and calm movements. The woman spoke softly and asked Maya why she had come. Maya answered honestly. She spoke about feeling lost and searching for peace. She spoke about the white pallet house and the lessons she learned. The woman nodded with understanding. Many people find their way here after listening to the forest, she said. This place is for those who are ready to live with truth. Maya stayed with them as the day passed. No one rushed her. No one questioned her. They shared simple meals and quiet moments. The silence felt comforting, not empty. As the sun lowered, Maya realized something important. She did not need to stay hidden forever. What she learned here was meant to be carried back into the world. That night, Maya slept under the open sky. Stars filled the darkness above her. She felt connected to something greater than herself, something peaceful and steady. In the morning, she woke early. The woman from before handed her a small folded paper. Inside were words written clearly. Take what you learned and live it openly. Maya thanked her and stood up. It was time to leave. She followed a new path that led gently out of the forest. This time, she felt no fear. She felt ready. As she reached the forest edge, she looked back once more. The trees stood tall and quiet. She knew the white pallet house was still there, waiting for someone else who needed it. Maya stepped onto the road leading back to her life. But she was not the same person who entered the forest. She carried clarity. She carried courage. She carried truth. And with each step forward, she began a new chapter, shaped by the night that changed everything. Maya walked forward on the quiet road with calm steps. The forest stayed behind her, but its presence remained inside her heart. The sounds of the outside world slowly returned. Distant birds. Light wind. The faint hum of life beyond the trees. None of it felt overwhelming anymore. She reached the edge of the forest and stopped for a moment. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She did not feel rushed. She felt ready. As Maya continued, small details around her began to stand out. The sky looked wider. The air felt lighter. Her thoughts moved clearly instead of racing. She realized that the forest did not change her by magic. It helped her remember who she already was. When she arrived back in town, people moved quickly around her. Cars passed. Voices mixed together. Before, this noise would have made her feel lost. Now it felt manageable. She stayed present with each step. Maya returned to her home and placed her bag down gently. The room looked the same, but she felt different inside it. She opened the window and let fresh air fill the space. Light touched the walls softly. She sat at her table and took out a blank notebook. She did not open her phone. She did not distract herself. She began to write. She wrote about what mattered to her. She wrote about the kind of life she wanted to live. She wrote about listening to her own voice instead of ignoring it. The words flowed naturally. Days passed, and Maya slowly changed her routine. She woke early and spent time in quiet reflection. She walked often and noticed the world around her. She spoke honestly with people instead of hiding her feelings. Some days were easy. Some days were hard. But even on hard days, she trusted herself. Maya returned to work with a new mindset. She set clear boundaries. She chose tasks that aligned with her values. When something felt wrong, she did not force herself to accept it. She learned to say no with calm confidence. People around her noticed the change. They saw her calm presence and steady focus. Some asked her what had changed. Maya smiled and said she learned to listen. One evening, Maya visited a nearby park. Trees lined the path, reminding her of the forest. She sat on a bench and watched the sunset. Warm colors filled the sky. She thought about the white pallet house. She wondered if someone else had found it by now. She hoped they would listen carefully, just as she had. As the sun disappeared, Maya felt gratitude. Not for perfection, but for clarity. Not for answers, but for trust. Weeks later, Maya received a letter. The envelope was plain, with no return name. Inside was a small note. Live gently. Listen deeply. Walk honestly. Maya smiled. She did not question where it came from. She understood. She placed the note inside her notebook and closed it carefully. She knew she did not need reminders every day. The lesson lived within her now. That night, Maya slept peacefully. No heavy dreams. No restless thoughts. Just quiet rest. In the morning, she woke with purpose. She made plans not based on fear, but on truth. She chose a path that felt meaningful, even if it was uncertain. Maya began sharing what she learned with others in small ways. She listened more. She spoke with care. She encouraged honesty and patience. She did not try to change people. She simply lived as an example. The forest remained a part of her story, but it did not hold her. It prepared her. Maya understood something important. Transformation does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives in silence, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. As she walked into her future, Maya felt grounded and strong. The night in the white pallet house had changed her life, not by removing struggle, but by giving her clarity. She moved forward with calm steps, carrying truth, balance, and quiet courage. Her journey did not end. It truly began.